Welcome to my channel, Modern Stoic. Do you know what the biggest fear of men over 40 is? It's not going bold. It's not getting fat. It's not loneliness. It's becoming invisible. Yes, invisible. One day, they look in the mirror and they no longer see the rebellious guy they were at 20, nor the ambitious one who tried everything at 30. They see someone who feels on pause, sometimes on autopilot. And that's when the trap begins. They start dyeing their gray hair, pretending to enjoy parties they no longer care about, copying the codes of much younger men just to feel like they are still in the game. But deep down, they know something no longer fits. Let me tell you something. Nobody dares to say, society is not ignoring you because you are older. It's testing you. It's watching to see if you will give up, if you will accept the washed-up label, if you will hand your masculinity over to fear. And most men do exactly that. They surrender without a fight. They become tame, predictable, desperate for approval like teenagers. And that, believe me, is what truly makes you invisible to women. Because here's the secret. No one tells you. Women are not looking for a man who acts young. They are not turned on by a man competing with 20-year-olds on TikTok. They are attracted to a man who has something most have lost: purpose, direction, silent power, not brute force, not cheap arrogance, but that presence that fills the room without needing to shout. And if right now you feel a knot in your stomach, if something inside you has stirred, it's because you know you've been letting life walk all over you. You know you've been making excuses, blaming age, work, the modern world, when the truth is that at some point you stopped leading your own story. This video is a wake-up call. It's not soft self-help or motivational quotes to make you feel good for 5 minutes. I'm going to talk about what makes you uncomfortable, what you read to ignore, the parts of yourself you'd rather not look at. And if you dare to stay, if you listen until the end, I'm going to show you how to recover something much more valuable than the body you had at 20, your presence, your magnetism, and your self-respect. So, drop whatever you're doing, because what I'm about to tell you might make you angry, or it might wake you up. Here's the strange part. When you begin to wake up, when you start moving with intention again, you're going to notice something odd. People around you will feel uncomfortable, not because you're hurting them, but because suddenly you're reminding them of what they themselves stopped being. And this is where many men trip again. They feel the pressure to fit back in, to be nice, to not make anyone uneasy. But I want you to understand this. Your growth is uncomfortable, and it must make others uncomfortable. If your evolution doesn't generate resistance, you're still playing too safe. There's hardly anyone tells you that is crucial to regaining your magnetism. The environment you move in shapes your mindset far more than you think. You can work quietly, care for your body and mind. But if you spend your evenings surrounded by cynical, defaced people who complain about the government, about women, about the economy, sooner or later you will absorb that poison. Social psychology makes it clear emotions are contagious. If you surround yourself with resentful men, you'll end up seeing the world through the wound, not through power. That's why I want you to start practicing something that's not very popular. Social pruning. Yes, exactly. Like a gardener cutting the branches that are stealing strength from the tree. I want you to examine closely the people around you and start identifying who pushes you forward and who drains you. Friends who only call to complain gradually cut. Contact in viral elements where you feel you have to pretend to be someone else. Get out of there. Be relentless with this because your energy is too valuable to give away to those who don't respect it. And no, this is not about becoming cold or elitist. It's about protecting the space where your new self grows. Think of it like a psychological gym. You wouldn't train strength with someone deliberately sabotaging your weights, right? So, Don't train your mind in an environment that mocks your goals or glorifies mediocrity. Women sense this. They perceive it instinctively. A woman may not know exactly why a man seems more attractive to her, but her body responds when she's in front of someone with high standards, someone who guards, who enters, and who leaves his life. Now listen carefully because this may sting. If right now everyone in your circle feels comfortable with you, you're probably not growing. True growth creates friction. You'll face surprise looks, passive-aggressive jokes, even open rejection, and this is where you must prove you're willing to pay the price. Social discomfort is the sign that you are no longer predictable, that you are breaking the pattern others had learned from you. I want to propose an exercise I use with my patients that transforms the way they relate to others. Spend an entire week without justifying yourself. Don't explain why you say no to an invitation. Don't justify your decisions. Don't make excuses for your habit changes. Simply act. If someone questions you, smile and move on. What you will discover is brutal. You'll see who truly respects you and who was only in your life as long as you played the role they wanted you to play. When you get through this stage, something magical happens. You stop feeling the need to prove you're worthy, and you start operating from a place of selection. And this, from the female perspective, is extremely attractive. Women are not looking for a man who explains himself at every turn. They are looking for a man who inspires K-finance simply by how he moves. Someone whose life has direction. And that's exactly what a man who chooses his environment with intention communicates. But let me go further because I want you to leave this video with concrete tools. Start creating rituals of inner renewal. And I'm not talking about cliché meditation or writing affirmations on a mirror. I'm talking about real spaces of silence where you can review your last 24 hours without filters. Which decisions did you make out of fear? When did you seek external validation? Which small battles did you win? This personal audit is uncomfortable, but it's the foundation of unshakable self-respect. Once you begin doing this daily, you'll notice something. The world can no longer knock you off center so easily. Criticism stops being a wound and becomes just data. Rejection no longer breaks you. You take it as information and adjust your course. And this is one of the most fascinating secrets of female psychology. Women feel a visceral attraction to men who do not break emotionally in the face of adversity. Not because they want to see you suffer, but because it transmits security. A man who doesn't lose his center makes them feel that no matter what happens, they can rely on him. Do you see how powerful this is? You stop begging for attention. You stop overcompensating. You stop trying to impress. And paradoxically, it's at that exact moment that you become magnetic, because true attraction is born from stability, not desperation. And this is where I want to take you into a territory few dare to touch: the power of your internal narrative. Until now, we've talked about your environment, your silence, your habits. But there is something even deeper that defines your magnetism: the story you tell yourself about who you are. Most men after 40 live with an old script, one that says, "I'm no longer at my best. My time has passed. My attractiveness is declining." And that story shows in their posture, in their voice, in their gaze. Psychology calls it a self-fulfilling prophecy. When you repeat a story long enough, you begin to act as if it were true. What I want you to do now is rewrite that script, not on paper, but in your mind. Start seeing yourself as the man who is entering his best stage, not leaving it. You are not a resigned survivor. You are a strategist with scars who knows exactly what he wants and what he doesn't. Every wrinkle, every gray hair, every failure you overcame are credentials, proof that you have something to offer that a young man hasn't even had time to build yet. Experience, judgment, composure. There's a strategy that works incredibly well. Start associating the word attractive with something that has nothing to do with appearance. Ask yourself every morning, what makes me magnetic today? It's not about expensive clothes or muscles, but presence. It could be the decision to stay calm during a tense meeting or simply finishing the task you've been postponing for weeks. Attraction is felt when a man is consistent with himself, when his life and his values don't contradict each other. And I want you to understand something very few men know. Female attraction is not linear. It's emotional. It doesn't get triggered because you check off a list of superficial requirements. It gets triggered when you awaken deep emotions. That's why trying to be liked all the time doesn't work. Neutrality kills chemistry. What sparks a woman's interest is feeling. There's something about you she can't control that she has to discover. And that only happens if your life has layers, if your story isn't edited to please, if there's mystery. One way to build this emotional magnetism is to do something that takes you out of your routine and has nothing to do with well or producing. Do something that awakens genuine curiosity in you. Learn to play an instrument. Sign up for a sport you've never tried. Start a creative project no one expects from you. Curiosity is contagious. When you see yourself excited about something, other people feel it. And this again is extremely attractive because it communicates that you are not switched off, that your life is still expanding. Here's another very powerful psychological tip. Train your tolerance for conflict. Most men become overly accommodating as they age because they fear losing the peace they've built. But avoiding conflict is not peace, it's submission. Learn to hold your ground without raising your voice. To say no firmly, to sustain disagreement without exploding or justifying yourself. Women can spot in seconds a man who can't set boundaries, and that kills attraction. A man who can sustain conflict calmly is a man who radiates safety. And speaking of safety, I want you to start working on a habit very few mention: strategic rest. I'm not talking about sleeping more hours out of laziness, but about designing real breaks where your mind can reset. Men who never stop end up irritable, reactive, and emotionally drained, and that kills any magnetism. Schedule moments without screens, walk without headphones. Let your brain process. Neuroscience is clear. Silence and deep rest regenerate your nervous system, improve emotional regulation, and make you more magnetic. Another strategy I want to give you is one used by the world's best communicators: the loaded pause. The next time someone asks you a challenging question, or you feel the urge to respond quickly, wait 2 or 3 seconds before speaking. That micro-silence forces the other person to pay. More attention to you projects calm and makes your words sound more deliberate. It's not manipulation, it's emotional control in action. And to close this block with something that can completely change you, I want you to start working on your nonverbal energy. Yes, your body language. It's not about faking power poses like in a self-help manual, but about training your body to transmit openness and authority at the same time. Straight back, relaxed shoulders, direct gaze without challenging deep breathing. Practice at home until it becomes natural. When you enter a space with this presence, you don't need to say a single word. People feel it. Everything I'm telling you connects with what we talked about earlier. These aren't tricks. They're layers of the same process. Rebuilding your identity so it no longer depends on external approval. The man who achieves this stops being predictable, stops living switched off. And the most fascinating thing is that when you do this, the world starts responding differently. Opportunities come. People feel drawn to you not because you are perfect, but because you radiate something rare: direction, calm, and authenticity. If you've made it this far, it means something I've said has resonated within you. Maybe you feel uncomfortable. Maybe you feel motivated. It doesn't matter. That reaction is exactly what you needed to start moving. Don't let this energy cool down. Do something with it right now. Subscribe to the channel if you are truly ready to stop being a spectator in your own life and start taking control. You won't find superficial tips or empty motivational quotes here. Every week, we are going to go deeper, peel more layers, tackle those topics no one dares to touch so that you can feel your life has direction again. And I want you to go one step further. Scroll down to the comments and write these 3 words: silence, legacy, presence. It's my way of knowing you're one of those who not only listen, but act. And when you read other men writing the same thing, you'll feel you're not alone. That there are many of us who are tired of mediocrity and determined to rise. Thanks for watching. If you found like this video, please press the bell icon and subscribe to my channel. Modern Stoic, thank you.